How's it going, everyone? I am here with my Kevin Steen show with Davey Richards DVD review, and let's not waste any time and jump right into the video. Of course, as always, you have the Kevin Steen show logo right there with Davey Richards, picture of them from the interview. Pretty cool cover, to say the least. The font says Davey Richards is pretty badass, and the lightning and everything in the background is pretty cool, so I like the cover. Pretty cool. You open it up, there's a disc, the same as the cover, basically, just black and white, nothing special there. Of course, spine is the same as usual, the Kevin Steen show with Davey Richards. And the back, pretty awesome back as well. I got the lightning and everything. Just looks pretty badass in general. And of course, the little bio, whatever you want to call it right here. Let's read it together now. Every time Davey Richards sits down in front of a highspots.com camera, there is usually a follow-up phone call from his current management cringing from its aftermath. The good news is we expect nothing different this time around. Our original sit-down with Kevin and Davey, known as Versus, actually gave birth to the Kevin Steen show. Just when you thought everything was all warm and fuzzy with American Wolf, he somehow managed to ruffle old feathers once again. From the NXT tryouts, outspoken opinions about ROH that made even Kevin Steen uneasy, to his very recent TNA wrestling debut, Davey has a lot of explaining to do. And of course, this interview was conducted January 17, 2014. Approximately running time for the episode was 1 hour and 23 minutes, which is very short, but you know, it was really good still. They're the bonus matches, the makeup for the running time, I guess. 3 matches right there. But the Kevin Steen show with Davey Richards, honestly, in my opinion, I can honestly say this is a must-have for anyone. Honestly, this is probably the best one I've seen yet. I've only seen 3 of them. I've only seen this one, the Eddie Edwards one, which will probably be up. The review will probably be up Sunday, hopefully, and the Adam Cole one. And this, by far, I can say is my favorite. Even though it is very, very short, you honestly get a lot of information in that 1 hour and 23 minutes. You actually, Davey's very, very, you know, he's a shy guy. He's always been a shy guy, but in this interview, he's very open. You can definitely tell he's comfortable, you know, talking about everything. And just, you really learn a lot about him, in my opinion. You can definitely tell how much he's changed over the years, because I used to hate Davey Richards, because I always thought he was a fucking asshole. Like, he was a prick. I always thought he was an asshole. He always talked shit about everyone. I honestly hated Davey Richards for a while. But over the last year, you know, he's really earned my respect. He's completely changed as a person. And this is a must-see interview in my opinion. Definitely the best one best Kevin Steen show I've seen yet so far, like I said. And yeah, very good stuff here. Easily a must-have. So if you're watching this, definitely pick this one up. It's very worth the $20, even though it's a very short interview. But in the interview, Davey Richards actually opens up a lot. He actually talks about how he's very comfortable around death, which is not an easy thing, because he actually watched his not best friends, but he actually watched one of his friends get ran over right in front of him, which is like, whoa, that's a huge thing to see. He talked about how he walked home, or he didn't walk home, he walked into his grandparents' house who he lived with, and he saw his mentally handicapped uncle dead on the ground. He talked about how he won his very first championship ever, 6 hours away from his hometown. He was driving home, got a phone call that his grandpa was dying. He didn't have much time left. Davey tried to get home as fast as he can, couldn't get home, so his grandpa unfortunately passed away before Davey could show him that he won his championship, because, you know, wrestling was between him and his grandparents. That's what they bonded with, so he was very sad that he couldn't show his grandfather that. Then his grandmother died while he was in Japan. His wife, or ex-wife now, at the time, called him, told him that his grandmother passed away. So Davey's actually had a really messed up life. Just, you know, you really feel for the guy, and he's actually now a paramedic, which is, you know, everyone knows what a paramedic is. He's actually talked about how he's actually scooped up dead bodies, and he's actually saved lives, and he actually talks about, he's actually a legal drug dealer. He's actually, he can legally distribute narcotics, I think it is. Yeah, narcotics. He can legally distribute that, so he's actually a legal drug dealer, which is actually kind of surprising. But he actually has some funny stories how some people would come in wanting drugs, and he talked about how once this guy said he couldn't find his knuckles, and Davey's like, former fist, and the guy's like, oh, and one guy, I forgot what kind of drugs he wanted. I think it was morphine or something, or it was some kind of drug. I forgot what it was. Some guy wanted it, and Davey's like, okay, lay down, I'll give it to you. Davey pinched his arm. Guy's like, oh man, thank you for the drug, man. Like, Davey's actually had a lot of interesting stories and entertaining stories. So it was actually a really good interview. Usually with the Steen shows, it's like a conversation between the two, but here you actually get a lot of just Davey talking and expressing himself, which is something I really like. So I like hearing stories from the people. Which is, I mean, with the other ones, it's good, because it's always good to have a nice back and forth conversation. But, like, I want to hear more from the person that's getting interviewed more than the interviewer. And Steen himself was even, like, shocked a few times. Steen was actually quiet for quite a few times in this interview, because he was, like, so, like, interested in listening and, like, shocked by what Davey was saying. Davey, they didn't really talk a lot about his wrestling career because, how short the interview was, so they didn't really go in depth with his career and everything. He talked about ROH, how he used to love ROH. He says ROH is Carrie owned, Gabe operated. That's what Ring of Honor is, and now that Ring of Honor is completely different than it was like years ago. He pretty much doesn't hate it, but he just doesn't want to be there. He even said he doesn't want to step foot in a Ring of Honor ring ever again, and he's had issues with them and the people there. He just doesn't want to be there. And he talked about his WWE tryout. He talked about how him and Eddie went to WWE NXT, had the tryout. He did great, and WWE actually wanted to sign the American Wolves. I know the reports out there said that, Triple H didn't want to sign him. Davey said that they wanted to sign him, but they only told him, we can only sign you to a developmental deal. Davey wanted to go straight to the main roster. Davey honestly didn't even want to go to WWE. He put over WWE, but he said he didn't want to go to WWE because he'd have to move to Florida, and, since he's a paramedic, he didn't want to, if he went to WWE, he had to basically throw that career away. He didn't want to throw that career away. So Davey, had to say, unless I'm going to the main roster, I don't want to, I can't be signed by you guys, or I don't want to be signed by you guys. And WWE only offered developmental, which is why they went to TNA, because, they'd go straight to the main roster that way. And he wanted to go to TNA. He even said he wanted to go to TNA because of the reason that if he went to TNA, he could still be a paramedic. He can still do side things. He can still do things. He can still do things on the side. So he wanted to go to TNA. So everything actually wound up working out for him. And this is a great interview, guys. This is very entertaining. He answered questions at the end, which he didn't really answer them. He just kind of gave like half-assed answers. Like, I know my good friend Mr. Paul JB 44 on here. He had his answered question. He actually asked Davey what his favorite opponent was in PWG, and Davey kind of just said everyone. He didn't really have a definitive answer. So yeah, honestly, this is a must-have in my opinion, guys. This is great stuff here. Highly recommend it. Can't wait to watch more. Hopefully, I can get the our video actually did a shoot interview with Davey recently, which I don't know if it's confirmed. There's actually a preview of it online. It's actually a 15-minute preview of it, but I'm not sure if it's confirmed. I highly doubt it, but I heard it's a 5-hour interview, which I highly doubt it is. Maybe 2, possibly 3, but I don't think it's 5 hours. But hopefully soon I'll be picking up the shoot interview with Davey Richards from RF Video as well, because I really want to hear more from Davey Richards. But this, guys, like I said, must own. Great stuff here. He talks about how he hated going to Japan because Japan never gave him a schedule. They just said, alright, we'll call you when we need you. And they always call him at the most inconvenient times. He hated it, so he quit. I think it was Noah he quit. Some promotion in Japan he quit. He just hated the schedule. But guys, pick this up. This is a must-have in my opinion. Everyone enjoy your Valentine's Day. I know I am. Got to enjoy it tonight. Yeah. Have a nice day, everyone, and have a nice night.